All right, welcome back to my channel. This is a Squintin Quarantino channel, and I'm Dave. Haven't been making a video for a little while, so I lost my iPhone, and now I'm trying to do this on the computer. It's a little bit difficult, being I'm not very good at it. I had the iMovies, and now I'm doing this. So let's give this a try. This little vacation, field trips to Sardinia, and it's not necessarily, actually it's not Mudflood, but I have a little idea. It's just food for thought, no big deal, but it seems interesting to me how some of our vocabulary made up of several words to make one word, and then we just take it for granted what it means. Let's get into this. Welcome, this is Sardinia. All these little camera icons is attractions for tourism, and I would love to visit them all, and I'm sure we will. Look at this giant's grave. That's pretty neat. A necropolis. Just so much. But we're going to concentrate right over here and see what's going on with this area. Let's first take a little visit around this area. Yes. Some beautiful architecture, absolutely wonderful, and this is amazing. This architecture is absolutely ancient and amazing, and you don't see this kind of work anywhere. But you can't help but notice, like in my last video, these sides of these doors on these places. Look at the size of, what is he, about 3 foot? He may be close to 6. That would be right about here. You couldn't even really reach the door handle, which I find quite interesting. And let's keep on moving to the next photo. Here you go. Now, look where the door handle is on this, and look at the people, the height. And right in the beginning where it's showing the map, it says, mentions giants, and we've heard about all the Cyclopean, which we're going to get into, Cyclopean style architecture. This is not, but it refers to giants, and this is well over 6. Here's another 6. It's almost 18 feet tall. Pretty interesting. If you ask me, I'm going to keep on going. Here we go with, look at this. Look at the size of these people. This is beautiful. Right, let me pause this right here. I'm going to go back a little. Go back to this. And slow down a hair. We are moving quite fast. This Catania is a Roman amphitheater in Sicily, southern Italy, Roman Imperial, 2nd century AD, northern edge, Piazza Stesicoro. Beautiful language. Necropolis of Catania. I'm not sure if I said that right. I'm sure I didn't. I don't have that, but that tongue, not versed very well on Italian, it's Sicilian. Let's take a look at this. All right. This is right downtown. They dug this up, obviously. I was noticing how interesting, if this was an amphitheater. All right, I want to just scale from right here to right there. Just one supposed seat. These would be seats, I imagine. Here's your arches to the ground, tall arches. But let me look at this person right here and place him here. If you ask me, that's a quite large seat for a 6-foot tall person. And then quite narrow, so you're not going to come in, say your seating is right here. You're not going to come in from this area and walk across if all this is filled in with people. So obviously you would come down and stairs down. How would you, a normal sized person, use these as stairs to get down all of that way? But, just an observation. Quite possibly the people were way taller than what we are now. So it's just beautiful right downtown. Could you imagine this place in your city? I'd be down there all the time. I'd be looking, oh man, this would be amazing, and the questions would be abound. I wouldn't stop asking questions. It is just amazing. All right, we're going to move on from here. And this area, that was right where we were looking at. The Catania. And right here is the island of Cyclops. The islands of Cyclops. Now, with that being said, I just want to say we're doing a Mudflood vacation, but soon as I seen giants and Cyclops, I had to take a look at it. So this is not a real long video, but I have an idea. And just a little precursor, Cyclops. C-Y, Clops. Where did this word come from? Where did the name of this come from? I am proposing that this was two words put together. Now, you will recognize the island of Cyclops due to the story of this guy. Okay? Polyphemus. And I'm going to have my daughter read you a little something. And she has a wonderful voice and way better than mine. But before I do, I want to go and look at this eyeball and then these two. If you're a Cyclops, and it obviously has 3 eyes on this. This is the Roman Greco version of this. Why would you have, what's the need of these 2 eyes? And I'm proposing that, yes, you have 3 eyes as a Cyclops. You do. But these 2 are closed and this one's open. Now, let's get further into this, where I'm going with this, but first let's hear from Amy. Okay. And let's stop here.
Polyphemus is the one-eyed giant son of Poseidon and Theusa in Greek mythology, one of the Cyclopses described in Homer's Odyssey. His name means abounding in songs and legends. Polyphemus first appeared as a savage man-eating giant in the 9th book of the Odyssey. The satyr play of Euripides is dependent on this episode apart from one detail. For comic effect, Polyphemus is made a pederast in the play. Later, classical writers presented him in their poems as heterosexual and linked his name with the nymph Galatea. Often he was portrayed as unsuccessful in these and as unaware of his disproportionate size and musical failings. In the work of even later authors, however, he is presented as both a successful lover and skilled musician. From the Renaissance on, art and literature reflect all of these interpretations of the giant.
All right, so thank you, Amy. That was incredible. And it sure is interesting, a lot of this, being that Homer had obviously, in the story of the Odyssey, he plunged the eyeball out of this Polyphemus. And notice he has 3 eyes as well in this cave that he lives on, this island. And once again, 3 eyes. 2 are closed, 1's open. And you'll see where I'm going with this here in a second. So let's go to the next frame. Here we are. This was Aci Castello. And here is the Cyclopean Islands. Cyclops. I am proposing that what if the Psy was actually spelled Phy, as in Psyche, and then Klop. What does Klop mean? Well, actually, in Greek, it means to move with a sound. Like you hear a horse clop. But it could also mean move with sound. The psyche, and to move with sound. Now, what does that have to do with anything? Let's move forward. You got the Vabliary. This is one of these islands. There's several. And look here, we've got many buildings, newer, and then we have some older architecture here. I believe if you look at some of these pictures, there's some caves and they are definitely blocked off. It is made of these basalt columns, and look how old these guys are. Let's go back. Let's go back to this. You've got many, let's pause here, examples of those, and this has been around a long time. Okay, so as we're looking, notice there's some places here that are underground. I think there was caves in here and it's hollowed out and you're just not allowed in those areas. There's only so many areas, and I don't know what all this is for. I don't know what that is for. Can't find anything on it exactly. But you can see some cutout structures, some angles. What used to be there, even some steps. There's all sorts of anomalies on this tiny little island where Homer took the eye out of the Cyclops, and he was able to lift giant boulders and throw them at the ship. Just giant boulders. But how did he do this? See, we noticed these areas, these niches that have been just tore out with time, several niches. Let's keep moving. Okay, right there. Keep going. Just interesting. Now, the Cyclopean masonry. Now, people ask, what in the world, or how in the world was this done? Some of these stones are just tens of tons. Easy. This lentil right here. And some of this architecture, you just don't stack rocks and go, okie doke, you've had to fail a bunch of times. And some of these are cut really, really well. Now, Cyclopean, here you go, Cyclop. I'm proposing, what if it was these Cyclops were a lot... In Egypt, in Egyptology and Greece, Hindu, Buddha, the third eye would be your pineal gland. And is it possible they were using their third eye, their psyche, to move with sound? So let's keep moving with this. I have some definitions. This is a giant's arch on the same island. Here we go. A lot of pictures. Beautiful, gorgeous. Here's Polyphemus. Now, eye. Very rounded, feeling like there's an eyeball in there. And then this one. What is the use of a cyclops with three eyes? If your two eyes, this world's eyes are closed, but you're using your pineal gland, wouldn't that be your third eye? Let's move forward on that thought. Okay. Another word for the place where your thoughts come from. Let's listen to Amy on what she's got to say on this one. Next,
The pineal gland has a long and mythical history. For example, in Pharaonic Egypt, the pineal was equated with the eye of Horus. René Descartes, 1596 to 1650, regarded the pineal gland as the point of contact between the soul, body, and the place where our thoughts are formed.
Thank you again. That was wonderful. And next, so means a soul, mind, spirit, invisible animating entity which occupies a physical body. So invisible animating entity. Can't see that eye, but we can depict it as a third eye, which the Cyclops obviously have. Okay, this I had looked up Klop in Greece, and unfortunately, you can look this up, but the meaning in Greek is to move along with sound. So you have psych, third eye, and to move along with sound. Could it mean to move with vibration, with a sound vibration? I believe that's possible. And why would you take out the Cyclops eye? And I also wonder why they were depicted as cannibals. Even though it's clearly in ancient Greek text and stories, he was quite educated and talented. So what's going on here? Let's keep moving on. The third eye, also called the mind's eye, the inner eye, a mystical and esoteric concept of speculative, invisible eye, usually depicted as local on the forehead, which provides perception beyond ordinary sight. In Indian spiritual traditions, the third eye refers to Anja or brow chakra. The third eye refers to the gate that leads to the inner realm and spaces of higher consciousness. In spirituality, the third eye often symbolizes a state of enlightenment. The third eye is often associated with religious visions, clairvoyance, the ability to observe chakra auras, precognition, and out-of-body experiences. People who are said to have the capacity to utilize their third eyes are sometimes known as seers. In Hinduism, Buddhism, the third eye is said to be located around the middle of the forehead, slightly above the junction of the eyebrows, representing the enlightenment one achieves through meditation. And the Cyclops was always alone, plenty of time to meditate. The eye of consciousness. Let's keep moving. Very interesting. And this is a depiction of the pine cone. This pine cone has always been related to the pineal gland, what it might look like. All the way back to Pharaonic Egypt, and probably way further back. Hinduism, India still does, but it has now not been used to a point of calcification. Pharaonic Egypt, equated with the eye of Horus. Point between the soul, body, and place where thoughts are formed. Now, when you look into Google and Wikipedia, notice how, when you think of Cyclops, we think of this guy. One eye, here he is throwing giant rocks. He's a huge dude. I mean, this tiny island, Cyclopean Islands, there he is here throwing at Odysseus. These guys are monsters, yet we have depictions of them with three eyes, two eyes that are normal. Look, there's an eye here instead of the middle of the forehead. This one's in the middle of the forehead. These don't have the other two eyes. So what was the purpose in this? Why would you do this? Why would you interpret them as monsters? Let's keep moving. Okay. And here he is. The head of Prometheus. These eyes are open. Now these guys are open, but he's using this third eye, which does not look natural. These look natural, completely natural. And of course, the nose of every important figure has been knocked off, but no one has it's the most prominent. Man, I don't even want to hear that. And there was a reason to deface, just like they deface statues to this very day. Very odd depiction. Now we got demonizing. Let me go back to Amy and let's do this here.
The pineal gland has a long and mythical history. For example, in Pharaonic Egypt, the pineal was equated with the eye of Horus.
I'm sorry, that was me. Like I said, I'm used to using iMovie. Let's go to this here.
Demonizing the enemy. Demonization of the enemy, or dehumanization of the enemy, is a propaganda technique which promotes an idea about the enemy being a threatening, evil aggressor with only destructive objectives. Demonization is the oldest propaganda technique aimed to inspire hatred toward the enemy necessary to hurt them more easily, to preserve or mobilize allies, and demoralize the enemy.
All right, and with that said, I'm proposing that these Cyclops were advanced extremely. They were using their minds to do extraordinary feats. And there wasn't a lot of them. On this island of Sardinia, they had the giants, and there's graves in the Cyclopean architecture. These guys were ahead of all, but there wasn't as many as humans. And if you want to make someone look bad, you would demonize them. What did they do? They called them cannibals. I mean, think about this. Why would you be a cannibal if you herded sheep, you had food? Why would you eat man? Why would you eat a man? Unless you were trying to make him look like a demon. Really bad. Why would you stab this demon in the eye? You're trying to get rid of this, make him look bad. Propaganda of man has lost and calcified their pineal gland. These guys were left doing this stuff. If you want to take credit for their work, I mean, look at all these ancient archaeological spots in this world that are just beyond our belief. What if a Cyclops was Psyche and they were able to move with sound, called, put them together, Cyclops. That's just a thought. Let's move on. It must necessarily be the case that the impressions which enter by the two eyes or the two ears and so on unite with each other in some part of the body before being considered by the soul. Now it is impossible to find any such place in the whole head except this gland. Moreover, it is situated in the most suitable possible place for this purpose, in the middle of all the concavities. Think about whales and dolphins, bats. They use a sonar. If you look at whales, there's always a concavity of resonance, and we don't understand the sounds they're making, but they communicate with each other just fine. They're using their pineal gland, their resonance, and sound. Okay. This here, it's blown up too much, but basically suggests that the third eye is in fact partially, in the center of the two hemispheres of the brain. Reptiles, amphibians sense light via the pineal gland, which serves to regulate their circadian rhythms. Rhythm is sound. It is a vibration. It says here, over time as humans evolved, this eye atrophied. Okay, it calcified. And we can bring that back with meditation. Like I said, these Cyclops were not socially together. They didn't just form and sit around by the hundreds, make cities and stuff like this. They were pretty loner guys and had plenty of time to sit and ponder. And this is one on this gentleman here. I was just watching the giants of Sardinia. This is just one of the mummified giants. I wish I had a better picture of it, but like I said, losing my iPhone, I'm having trouble with these videos, but I wanted to put this out here and just give it a look. But anyway, I'm proposing that the word Cyclops came from two words, psyche and klops, to move with sound. Tell me what you think. It's just a thought. I don't know anything. If you could like this video, share it on YouTube, and hopefully I can get my iPhone back. If not, I have one in another month or so. Them things are expensive, guys. And to make a little more premium style videos. But like I said, I wanted to put this out here, just throw it at you guys and tell me what you think. Thank you, and with love and respect to all, and good luck with us and our Afghanistan problems, and love each other, be friendly, and till the next time.